From playground promises to forever bonds, Maleeha, Eshal, and Inaiya did not know the meaning of destiny when they first met. They were only 5 years old, standing awkwardly in a small neighborhood park, each holding a toy too big for their tiny hands. The sun was bright, the swings creaked softly, and laughter floated in the air like magic. That ordinary afternoon quietly became the beginning of an extraordinary journey. Maleeha was the first to speak. She had curious eyes and a confident smile, the kind that made people trust her instantly. Eshal stood beside her, shy but warm, clutching her doll tightly as if it were her shield. Inaiya, energetic and fearless, ran ahead to the slide and called back loudly, "Come on, let's play together." That was all it took. By the end of the day, the three girls were inseparable. They shared snacks, secrets, and silly promises. Sitting on the grass, their fingers intertwined, Maleeha said, "We will always stay together." Eshal nodded seriously, while Inaiya laughed and added, "Forever means forever." None of them realized how powerful those words would become. The innocent days of childhood was kind to them. They walked to school together every morning, their bags almost as big as their dreams. If one was late, the other two waited. If one cried, the other two comforted. Their teachers often smiled seeing them sitting together, whispering answers during class and giggling during breaks. Maleeha was the leader. She always volunteered to speak, to represent, to try first. Eshal was thoughtful and patient, always helping others understand lessons and calming fights before they grew. Inaiya was bold and creative, filling their days with laughter, ideas, and mischief. They were different, yet perfectly balanced. Exams came and went. Sometimes marks were good, sometimes disappointing. But the real lessons were learned outside the classroom, under the old tree where they shared lunch, on the swings where they talked about dreams, and on the walk home where they promised each other that nothing would ever change. When they graduated from primary school, they hugged tightly, afraid of the future yet excited by it. "No matter what happens," Eshal said softly, "we won't drift apart." Maleeha smiled with confidence. Inaiya raised her hand dramatically and said, "Friendship oath accepted." Growing up, slowly and suddenly teenage years arrived quietly, then all at once. Their voices changed. Their worries grew heavier. Childhood games were replaced with questions about identity, success, and the future. School became harder, expectations higher, and time somehow shorter. Sometimes they argued about studies, about priorities, about silly misunderstandings. There were days when one walked ahead while the others followed in silence. But every fight ended the same way, with apologies, tears, and stronger bonds. Maleeha began dreaming of independence and success. She studied harder, pushing herself forward. Eshal discovered her love for learning and helping others, spending long hours with books and notes. Inaiya explored creativity, confidence, and expression, dreaming of a life full of meaning and joy. They changed, but they changed together. On the last day of school, they stood at the gate, uniforms pressed, eyes emotional. The future felt uncertain. University life awaited them, full of challenges they could not yet imagine. "Whatever happens next," Maleeha said, "we face it together." University. The turning point. University life was nothing like school. The campus was larger, the people unfamiliar, and the pressure overwhelming. For the first time, their paths were not perfectly aligned. Different schedules, different majors, different responsibilities. There were days when they barely met. Weeks when stress replaced laughter. Nights filled with assignments, deadlines, and silent doubts. Maleeha struggled under expectations. She wanted to succeed, to prove herself, but the weight felt heavy. Eshal questioned her confidence, wondering if she was good enough. Inaiya smiled on the outside but quietly fought her own fears. Yet, whenever one felt like giving up, the other two appeared, with coffee, encouragement, or just quiet company. Late-night study sessions became their new playground. Instead of swings, they sat on library floors. Instead of games, they shared dreams. Instead of childish promises, they made adult commitments. "We've come too far to stop now," Eshal whispered one night. And they didn't. Graduation and new beginnings. Graduation day arrived faster than expected. Caps flew into the air. Parents clapped proudly. Tears flowed freely. As they stood side by side, degrees in hand, Maleeha felt something deep in her heart: gratitude. They had survived. The world now demanded more from them. Careers, responsibilities, and expectations pulled them in different directions. Life became busier, calls became shorter, meetings became rarer, but the bond? Unbroken. They celebrated each other's achievements, supported each other's failures, and remained present, even when physically apart. When love entered the story, time passed, and life unfolded its next chapter. Wedding talks began. One evening, sitting together after a long time, Inaiya shyly shared her news. "There's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice trembling. When she finished, silence filled the room, then screams of happiness. Eshal hugged her tightly. Maleeha wiped her tears. The little girls from the park were stepping into adulthood. Wedding preparations were emotional. Dresses were chosen, memories revisited, and childhood photos laughed over. Every ritual reminded them how far they had come. On the wedding day, lights glowed softly and music filled the hall. As Inaiya walked forward, Eshal and Maleeha stood beside her, just like they always had, not as little girls anymore, but as women shaped by friendship. A friendship that time could not break. After the wedding, life changed again. New responsibilities, new homes, new routines. Distance tried to test their bond, but failed. They learned that friendship doesn't need daily presence. It needs understanding, trust, love. Sometimes they met. Sometimes they didn't. But whenever they did, time rewound itself. Laughter returned, memories resurfaced, promises felt renewed. Sitting together one evening years later, Maleeha smiled and said, "We kept our promise." Eshal nodded. Inaiya laughed. Forever had arrived, quietly, gently, beautifully. Moral of the story: true friendship does not fade with time, distance, or change. When hearts stay connected, every journey becomes meaningful, from childhood playgrounds to lifelong commitments.